with the ball.
Just getting a hand in there and called for the foul. You see obviously Alan Black from that time out. They can rack up big scores too.
Phil Doherty averaging 17 minutes a game this season on court for Perth, a lot more than he's been accustomed to. He's got the ball at the moment from Stewart. Into Fisher, back to the basket, to Lichty, just inside the arc.
Well, Townsville persevering with his zone. It's doing a pretty reasonable job for them. It's only a 6-point ball game as Panisi gets a pretty good pass there from Simon Curl and finishes off.
So the margin back to 4. Fisher to Smith. Back out to Lichty. Back to Smith. Takes on the defense, then to Fisher. Great work there. The hands coming over the top. Fantastic bit of work by Cameron, stripping the ball from Fisher. Curl now with some good ball skills, but can't get it to fall. Stewart along the baseline, almost hands it off to Fisher, who draws the foul. Panisi.
Scott Fisher just makes position there under the ring, and you can't shift him. And got the desperation pass from Stewart. As we see there, Panisi getting an arm in. Fisher goes to the line. One of the league's premier free throw shooters.
O's and Mitchell Hill coming in. Curl and D'Ambrosio sitting down for the Suns.
Mark Bragg not afraid to rotate his players too. He had all 9 players in this travelling team in the game in the first quarter, so he's got plenty of talent he can choose from.
Fisher up to 7 points now this afternoon. Nails his second. The margin back to that half a dozen. Rucker, only 4 points so far. Mitchell Hill, Lichty getting a hand on it, but still a Suns ball.
Well, Derek Rucker hasn't had too many shot attempts so far, so the Perth Wildcats have done a reasonable job on him so far.
Well, that was ambitious.
Just getting the lob pass there, and it wasn't quite on. Rucker looking to penetrate, and the hand check on Smith, he acknowledges that. Derek Rucker always wanting to get to the keyway, get to the paint and draw some help and dish. And of course he can pull up for his own shot.
Mark Bragg prowling the sidelines.
Jason Cameron just complaining there, saying that the defence is pushing him, and he was called for the offensive block. So it's a turnover to Townsville though.
And Smith brings the ball down court. Fisher across to Lichty. Doherty. Nice move again by Phil Doherty. So Doherty now 8 points in this game. Has a season average of 7 coming in. Smith again, I think, has been called, so successive fouls there against Greg Smith, trying to man up against Derek Rucker. And subs for Perth, Crawford coming in for Doherty.
And Rucker will go to the line for the two free throws with Wildcats being in the bonus situation. Derek Rucker on his penetration is so quick, and Smith's been caught out a little bit there with the lack of foot speed.
Derek Rucker this season 88% from the line, made 52 of 59 coming in. He makes both those. So just keeping Townsville in touch. Grace goes along the baseline. That's a very difficult shot. O's comes up with a rebound for Townsville. Speaking of difficult shots, Rucker made that one look easy.
Rucker just put the steps on Smith there, and the running banker.
Well, back to 4 points here, the Suns. Grace on his own down low. That one was short. Fisher the rebound. That was a short shot, but he does get it back and makes good on the second attempt.
There's Fisher again on the offensive board. Probably lost the grip on the first shot, followed up and made it. And it's probably the first time that Townsville haven't had perimeter pressure, and they were scored on.
Mitchell Hill off to Rucker. Smith still manning up on him, which is interesting, rather than Grace. Panisi makes it from low on the right. Oh, a heavy fall there. Greg Smith and also Mitchell Hill picking themselves up.
Well, the offensive foul there on Smith, so Mitchell Hill goes to the line for 2.
And a timeout called by Perth Wildcats coach Alan Black. So 49 playing 45. The Wildcats with their noses in front. They did lead at one stage by 17 in the opening quarter, 11 at the quarter-time break, but the Townsville Suns have fought back. And let's see if we can have a listen now to Alan Black during his timeout.
Try and keep the ball in the side, contain the dribbler, all right, and then we should be okay. And then as soon as there is strong side penetration, weak side guys have got to be off and helping closing out shooters. Right, they have scored every possession bar one in this half of the basketball game. All right, we've got to get down and play some defense, close out some people, and do a better job of it, all right? Let's go, boys. Come on.
Well, penetration's the key here.
Certainly is. That's from Alan Black. Clinton, what did Mark Bragg have to say?
Well, there was a really good feeling from Mark Bragg and also from the Townsville Suns during that timeout, the real us against them sort of feel. They know that they're right back in the game. The key thing Mark Bragg's talking about there, he says that they're getting on top of Greg Smith and Ricky Grace at the guard spot. They're not giving either of those players open shots when the Wildcats are up front, and they really think that they are working on top of this game. They're hopeful to be either level pegging or in front by half-time.
Kieran Mitchell Hill on the line. Surprised that Greg Smith was given the role of marking Derek Rucker there?
Well, he normally has pretty good foot speed. He's a reasonable defender, and offensively he's very good too. But Rucker is so quick in his change of pace, and I think his penetration, Alan Black just said then, they've scored on every offense bar one so far this quarter, and they've got Perth into foul trouble here in the bonus, so they can score for the foul on every time they like.
Something one of the officials not happy with here. Oh, Peter Lucas getting the PA announcer to say something about the behaviour of someone in the crowd, doing something that's upsetting the players and the referees. Grace off to Lichty. Tries to get around D'Ambrosio, does, and well done.
Lichty taking it hard to the hoop there, and maybe Rayos could have stepped up there and taken it right on the chest.
Todd Lichty, the game high scorer with 16 points. Fisher has 10 also for Perth. Lindstrom to Mitchell Hill, off to Rucker. Rucker from long range again, it was short. Smith comes up with a comfortable rebound. Rucker just holds him up and then gets the hand in on. Should go all the way. Will Crawford foul him? He doesn't bother.
You see Townsville are cranking up the pressure on the perimeter here, and good hands there obviously from Rucker. But Perth not getting too many easy looks. Just in this zone, I think the way that Perth can look at breaking it up is running someone to the foul line. That seems to be a pretty open spot. That's where Crawford's shooting from, probably 3 feet too far out for James.
Well, this trip down court, they can either tie the game or indeed take the lead if they can net one from three-point range. So quite a comeback by the Townsville Suns. Inside to D'Ambrosio, and scores are level, 5 minutes away from half-time.
Just sort of sense a little bit here from Perth offensively. They're just looking a little bit shaky, lost their composure here, and they've got to find a different way to score.
Lichty loops it into Fisher, back to Grace, confronted by Mitchell Hill. Smith. Down to 7 seconds on the shot clock. Smith in, dishes it back. Lichty can't control it. Again, good defense pressure by Townsville.
Well, the game certainly has changed complexion here at 51 all, and now Townsville are playing with their tail up.
Now Rucker sitting down. Simon Curl back into the game for the Suns. Oh, this trip forward can give them the lead. Curl, double team by Lichty and Crawford, gives it over to O's, puts up the little jumper. Which way will it go? Stewart comes up with it for the home side. Lichty, left open and nails it.
Well, that's monotonous. Someone that's played in the NBA and has good outside range, just knock that down if he's left alone, and Lichty's on fire.
There's 19 points now for Todd Lichty. 4 minutes away from half-time. Ball inside to Ambrosius. Back to Curl. O's. Curl with nowhere to go. Gives it back to Mitchell Hill from a long way outside the arc. Crawford, the Spring Heel Jack, gets the rebound for the Wildcats.
And a 3-second call there, just pinned on the Wildcats, so they're looking a little bit scrappy there.
Scott Fisher, I think, the man who incurred the rock. Timeout called by Mark Bragg. And the Wildcats with a lead of 3 points, 3.5 minutes away from half-time. The Cats up 54 points to 51. Well, Derek Rucker has some quick hands. Darryl Pearce mentioned how fast he is at covering ground across the court, and he effected a great steal earlier in this quarter.
Here he is, just teeing up on Smith. Just gets a piece on this pass. Let's have a look at this. Just gets a piece, and then in the contest with Crawford, just gets a little helping hand and the soft loft and lay in. So Derek Rucker has been the factor offensively and defensively so far.
Just keep moving, keep driving the big boys down the block. You're doing a nice job. All right. On our next play, run double. On our next play, run doubles to get into it. We might be able to swing it and get Ray on the opposite side.
Well, Clinton, what did Alan Black have to say to his charges?
You don't have to be Einstein to work out Alan Blake. Not exactly happy during that timeout. Certainly went at the referees early on. Not happy with that 3-second call on Scott Fisher, which came before the timeout. He said it was a much better defensive effort from the Wildcats during the latter stages of that passage of play. And from each score from now on, they're going to half-court trap for a while before going back into a man-to-man. So Alan Blake looking at the defensive end now for the Wildcats.
Rucker, lovely pass. The Ambrosius probably should have done better. Stewart gets a hand on it. Lichty in the end comes up with it for the Wildcats. Bounce pass to Crawford astray.
The pass just not quite on the money there, but defensively, Perth looking to mix it up. Probably the half-court trap does get the ball out of Rucker's hands, and that may be the theory there. Just trying to throw Townsville out of sync here, see if they can come up with a counter. So it'll be a half-court trap back into a man.
The Ambrosius, the top of the key. Curl, O's. Dishes back. The long bomb put up. Doesn't fall on that occasion for Cameron. Still the three-point split in favour of the Wildcats. Lichty for three this time. The rangefinder not quite working. Fisher strong, off to Crawford. O's again gets a hand on it.
Well, O's is just the presence in there. That's 4 blocks so far in this game. And he's throwing everything out at the moment. Rucker pulls up for a 3. Short again. That's a shot from a man that's been on a drip during the week.
Yeah, he's been short from long range on almost every opportunity today as D'Ambrosius gets it from beneath the basket. Gets the margin back to 1. Just over 2 minutes away from the half. Fisher a good mid-court screen there on Rucker. Stewart, long pass cross-court. Grace along the baseline, runs into heavy congestion. O's got a hand on it, but Grace recovered the situation and gets 2 more.
Perth need Grace to get involved in this game too. And Crawford with good hands and interception. Perth on the break. Fisher underneath. Throws the fake and Cameron acknowledges that foul. So that's the 4th foul on Townsville so far.
The Ambrosius sitting down. Kruger coming back into the game for the Townsville Suns. Stewart with the ball from the baseline for the Wildcats. Lichty off to Fisher. Grace being marked by Curl. Chant goes up from what is a very big crowd here today at the Entertainment Centre, nudging 8,000. Lichty goes inside to Fisher, makes it on the turn.
Fisher looking for the foul too. Just flashed in the key, got a good pass and knocked it down.
The margin out to 5. Kruger off to Curl. Lovely pass off to O's. That's going to be against Scott Fisher.
Fisher making sure that O's has to earn these 2 points from the stripe. Here's Scott Fisher, professional foul there. He was sitting under the ring when the dunk came raining down, I would imagine.
Fisher sitting down after that. Phil Doherty checking back into the game as Ray Owes is about to go to the line.
Fisher's definitely under an injury cloud at the moment, and he's been played in short bursts.
Yes, he's got that hamstring niggle. Missed all bar 2 games last year. Came back late in the playoffs after the knee reconstruction. Owes makes both, so he's up to 11 points now, Ray Owes. Rucker's entered double figures as well. Rucker staring Grace in the face. Bounce pass off to Lichty. Stewart gives it back out to Doherty. Curl harassing Lichty. Tries to drive, pulls out. Oh, gives it away. The pass was intended for Stewart. Quick hands by Rucker, and he goes all the way and draws the foul.
Well, great interception from Rucker and an expensive turnover now. A 3-point play. Derek Rucker is so quick from end to end.
Angry Anderson sitting in the crowd. The stage production of Jesus Christ Superstar about to hit Perth.
There's Derek Rucker just catching that runaway pass there. Beats Lichty up the floor, and then Lichty with the hands foul gives Rucker the opportunity to turn it into a 3-point play, which he can't.
Very similar hairstyles, Angry Anderson and Derek Rucker.
That's where the similarity ends, I'm afraid. Perth violating there, going in too soon on the shot, so Rucker with a chance to make amends, and he does.
The score's tied up at 58 apiece inside the last minute of the opening half. Great comeback by the Suns. They were down by 17 midway through the opening term. Grace with the ball. 13 seconds on the shot clock, about 25 on the game clock. Crawford, hands in there by Owes.
And Townsville to get the last shot of this half, you would imagine, so you'll probably see them just walk it down and flatten out probably into 1-4 situation and look for Rucker or Curl to penetrate. Just winding down the clock here the last 10 seconds.
Well, it'll be quite amazing if they make the basket. They'll take a lead into half-time. Curl for 3, offline. Oh, a little reverse layup over the shoulder there, made by Jason Cameron, and what a turnaround in this game. They were down by 17 points, the Suns, midway through that opening quarter. They go to half-time with a lead, 60-58.
Well, a great comeback there in the second quarter. They own the second quarter of the Townsville Suns, and I think at the moment Perth Wildcats are pretty shell-shocked.
Now let's go to Clinton Grievous, who's got the Suns coach with him.
Well, Mark, down by heaps early on, you must be ecstatic to be 2 up at half-time.
Yeah, I thought we steadied pretty well. They came out and just really hit everything, and we just had to hold our poise, and you know, we made a nice job to come back to where we are now.
Now, we know Derek Rucker's not coming into this game 100% fit. What a phenomenal effort, getting plenty of steals there, and now he's up to 14 by half-time.
Yes, I think, you know, he said to me, you know, last week that part of playing in this league is you've got to be able to play injured, and he's about as injured as I've ever seen him. You know, hopefully he can hold out, you know, for the next couple of quarters.
Now, a high-scoring match so far, 60-58. What about the fatigue factor? You played on Friday night, a long trip from Townsville to Perth. How are the boys feeling?
Well, we'll see. You know, you just got to hang in there. You haven't got any room to try and make a comeback, you know, like we did last time. So we just got to hang in there, and the zone's helping us save ourselves a bit. You know, we don't have to expend so much energy there, and, you know, hopefully we'll be okay.
All right, good luck for the second half.
Thank you.
All right, that was Mark Bragg, the Townsville Suns coach. Glenn, comeback last time he was referring to, they were down 17 just before three-quarter time here in the opening match of the season, and they got up by 2.
Thanks very much, Clinton. Well, they find themselves up by 2 at half-time, and that is a mighty comeback, Darryl, in front of a very parochial Perth crowd.
It certainly did silence the crowd there in the second quarter, and I think defensively there with Townsville sinking back to their zone with good ball pressure, really, Perth couldn't sustain that three-point barrage for that long.
Well, we'll be back with the second half shortly, but let's touch base again with Rob Waters and Ray Gordon.
Good on you, Glenn. Ray, remarkable performance, as the boys mentioned. Why did Townsville make the transformation?
Well, defence. I mean, they got out there and scrapped, got out of that soft zone, and you know, just hustled and bustled, and they're back in the game.
Okay, 2 points in front now. Remarkable effort after being down by 17. Big week for the Gordon family. You had the birth of your first daughter, first child, in fact, last week, young Brittany Elizabeth.
That's correct. She's doing very well. Mother's still recovering. beautiful Simone. She's done an exceptional job, and I'm a proud father.
And are you a snag, Ray? Sensitive new age guy?
No.
Lots of tender loving care for your lovely partner?
I'm sort of working on that side of things, but I'll get there, I think.
Okay. Well, your antics on court sort of don't suggest that, I'm afraid. Last night, some more problems. You've got a few public apologies to make to Messrs Smith, Parkinson and McDaniel. What happened?
Yeah, well, you maybe should ask them that. It was, it was a physical game, and they played exceptionally well, and I think we play them in about 5 or 6 weeks, so that's going to be interesting.
Okay, all right. No apology forthcoming. Never mind. I'm sure you'll do it in your own time. Now, your antics on court, though, on a serious matter, do you use them to G yourself and the boys up, or is it something that just comes naturally?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the way I get motivated. Get out there and run around and do some silly things and try and cause some turnovers, but... look, it gets the crowd excited, and that's part of the game, and it's fun. It's fun to get out there and run around.
And the Tigers not travelling as well at the moment. Your season's mirroring last year. You hope it does towards the end of the year as well, but you've got a few sick boys and unfit bodies there.
Yeah, we've had some major injury problems. Some viruses gone through the camp as well, and yeah, we'll be right. We've just got to get through that and just soldier on.
All right, well, good luck for the rest of the year, and Ray, we'll come back and get your thoughts on this game in a little while. Thanks for your time. Ray Gordon there from the Melbourne Tigers. But it's time now to check out some results for you from games in Week 7 of the Mitsubishi Challenge. And Wednesday night saw Southeast Melbourne Magic meet Sydney, and didn't the Magic play well? 115-88, the MVP, Mike Kelly. Townsville 101 defeated Newcastle 93. Townsville 2 points up over Perth, so they're good form holding. Illawarra, big result this one, 12-point winners over a disappointing Melbourne in something of a shock result. And Sydney 105 had a good win over Brisbane. The league needs Sydney performing well, and Sydney need a few wins on the board. That's a good start. In other matches now, Brisbane bounced back to defeat Canberra. They thrashed them really by 35 points. North Melbourne then came out and defeated Sydney, so Sydney couldn't back up. A win there for the Giants by 6 points. Darnell Hoskins, their import, firing in a big tally of points, scoring 40. Adelaide 92 defeated Illawarra 87. And the big one from last night, Southeast Melbourne Magic defeating their arch rival 105-88. Clinton McDaniel, the star performer. And let's now have a look at some highlights from last night's action.
As Gaze goes to work on Kelly. Wide open for the three. He buries it. Retreats to McDaniel. He penetrates in traffic. Pass, 4 of them off the glass. McDaniel. Jason Smith. He waves Kelly away. I'm sure we haven't seen the last of the McDaniel-Gordon duel just at the moment. Jason Smith athletically to the hoop. 2 more for him.
And that leaves the ladder looking like this. Southeast Melbourne Magic have got themselves a break now. A couple of games clear of Adelaide and Brisbane. Illawarra up there in 4th position. Perth and Melbourne in the action, but everyone's still a chance, although Canberra down on the bottom would need to get a little wriggle on. Well, now let's bring you up to date with what's happening in the NBL. Always heaps of action, and our rumour monger this week, Andrew Johnston.
Thanks, Rob, and we'll get this week's trip around the league started by checking in on Brisbane and Adelaide, which are 2 of the real hotspots in the country. The Bullets headed into the weekend with a 7-1 record and a share of first place in the standings with the Magic. They haven't been that high since August 95, and in the meantime this season they've knocked over the defending champion Tigers twice and have also dusted off the Magic and the Giants. Chuck Cornegay, he's been a monster on the boards for the Bullets and is averaging a league best 12 rebounds a game. He scored a total of 49 points and grabbed 27 rebounds in wins against the Giants and the Tigers last week, and that earned him the NBL's Player of the Week. CJ Bruton, he's wasted no time either. He's making a real impact and ranks among the league leaders in steals. And in Adelaide, the Sixers, they've been just as good, and they entered last night's home game against the Hawks, chasing a win to equal the best start to a season in franchise history. The last time a Sixers team opened the season 7-1 was back in '86, and that just happened to be in Adelaide Championship season. Kevin Brooks has been devastating for the team, and they're also getting great bench minutes from veteran Mark Davis. Davis is a candidate for the league's 6th Man of the Year award already and wound the clock back last weekend with a nasty dunk in heavy traffic at Newcastle. He said he gets flashbacks every now and again and he has to ask himself what he's doing. Whatever it is, we like that. Now, if you're confused about who's playing for the Sydney Kings these days, well, you're not on your own, but hopefully this will clear it up. The Kings dumped their 2 imports during the week and brought in Evers Burns and Dave Simmons to replace Matt Nova and Brian Caver. That makes it 6 already for the Kings this season. That's if you count Kenny Payne, although he didn't even make it across the Pacific. Simmons and Burns were in uniform as the Kings crashed into the Magic Wednesday night. That was their 6th straight loss. And get this, Caver watched the game from the end of the Kings bench. Sydney, they weren't the only team to make roster changes during the week. The Giants got rid of import swingman Nate Driggers and were still searching for a replacement heading into the weekend. That's all this week, Rob. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Andrew. Andrew Johnston there, who keeps us up to date each week with what's happening around the traps in the Mitsubishi NBL. Well, one of the key players in the almost unstoppable South East Melbourne Magic lineup is their forward, Tony Ronaldson. And let's take a quick time out with Tony.
I have 2 lovely pets. I have 2 dogs. One's name is Diesel, who's a cross between a Rottweiler and Husky, who's absolutely beautiful. And also just a purebred Husky whose name is Ice. Knocking on wood, and there's not much around here. My worst injury is probably a slightly sprained ankle or something. I'm pretty boring with injuries, thank goodness. Oh, that's a tough question. Definitely Greg Norman, because he's someone that I admire immensely. John McEnroe. And I suppose I'd have to go for someone else who's in a non-sporting background, although I'd really like to have Michael Jordan. Can I have 4? Can I have 4 people there? I'll go Michael Jordan, and we'll have Bill Clint to see whether it's true about him and Monica.
Again, losing control, Drimmick finds McDaniel. He'll go all the way, doesn't need to. Ronaldson, and it's 2 to the Magic. And Ronaldson from the 3-point range puts it away.
I suppose that a hero of mine when I was growing up was Julius Erving, who played for the Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA. I don't as such probably have a hero now as much as people whom I respect, who would be those people that I would have for dinner as well, like your Greg Normans and your John McEnroes and people like that. A nickname, yes, I've got a very infamous nickname. My nickname is Bear. I think it's got something to do with my butt. Favourite food, the dietitian is not going to like, but my favourite food is probably pizza. I am a die-hard Richmond supporter, and they will win this year, I'm sure. Well, in the gym, you really can't go past back, only because my weights coach is standing just out of shot here, and if I didn't say back or legs, he'd probably kill me. So definitely back. Legs are a close second.
Hi, I'm Lucille Hamilton from the Dandenong Boozeless Rangers. Keep watching the ABC when we play the Melbourne Tigers at 5 o'clock this Saturday.
Still half-time here in our match of the day in the NBL. Perth trailing by 2 points remarkably after a brilliant comeback from the Townsville Suns. Ray Gordon is our guest. Prior to the game, he said that Perth would definitely win this, put the house on it, and you are starting to sweat a little, mate.
No, I actually said Townsville. You must have heard me incorrectly. I'll stick with Perth. Look, they're at home, so I think they'll come through the goods.
Okay, Perth trailing by 2 points. Townsville really taking it up to the favoured team here. Let's now go back to the action and rejoin our commentary team, headed by Glenn Mitchell. Glenn.
Thanks very much, Rob. Yes, a great comeback by Townsville. As we said, 17 points down in the opening quarter. They take a 2-point lead into half-time and are leading 60 points to 58. And we'll just have a quick look before we catch up with one of the greats of the NBL at these stats, Darryl.
Well, Townsville's field goal, they're 79% is exceptional. Struggling from the outside, though, 3-point range. Most of the other stats are pretty even.
Well, I said a legend of the NBL, a former coach, captain. He's done a lot. Cal Bruton is with Quinton Grivas.
Yes, Glenn, one of the legends of the NBL, and he's here as part of the 20th anniversary celebrations. Cal, what do you make of the Wildcats so far in the first half?
I don't know. Once they establish those big leads, they seem like they relax a little bit, and the guys that come off the bench don't come with the spark necessary to maintain it. So, I don't know. They seem like they're going to be playing catch-up from this point on.
Now, everyone at home wants to know, what's Cal Bruton up to these days? Are you going to come back into coaching or something?
I would dearly love to. You know, I'm not prepared to move. I love Perth. Maybe an opportunity to sort of work with the Wildcats at some stage. I don't know. But I'm involved with the State Basketball League at the moment, and that just keeps my hand in. and I watch my young son CJ play in the National League. So, yeah, it's all good.
And he's doing well too. And just before we get underway for the second half, we've got to get you to give us a tip here. Townsville by 2. It's tight.
Well, I think this is a must-win game for the Wildcats. I have to go with them by a close margin because, you know, if they lose this one at home, then I think that's going to take away a lot of the energy for the remaining part of this early set in the season.
All right, Cal, thanks for joining us.
You got it. Thank you very much.
Clinton Grievous with Cal Bruton there, another one of the players nominated in the preliminary 50 for the greatest 10 to have played in the 20-year history. The second half, a false start. We get underway again proper now, and Crawford again gives first use of the ball to the Perth Wildcats. I didn't get a big reaction from you, Darryl, in the first half, but I mentioned you are one of the illustrious 50 finalists.
Just a humble person, mate.
I'll be voting for you. Pity I'm not on the panel. Now Crawford with the ball for Perth. On the baseline, tough shot over the top of O's. D'Ambrosius gets the rebound and gives it off to Curl, who throws it. Down court looking for Rucker. Stewart intercepts. So a bit sloppy to start this second half. And Crawford from beneath the basket gets the opening score.
This game could really be settled by the team that comes out the hungriest here in the third quarter.
O's gives it back to Curl, back into O's. Crawford marking him closely, goes over the top of him.
It's tough to stop, and James Crawford just choosing to play behind O's there and pay the penalty. Stewart on the drive. Looked like he was hit there, no call. And the Suns on the break.
O's off to Rucker. Rucker leading the Suns, scoring with 13 points in the opening half. Curl, nice move around onto the baseline. So Townsville now out to a 4-point break.
Simon Curl just getting on the score sheet there. He's pretty quiet offensively in the first half, scoring-wise. And if he starts to string them together, they're in trouble. A lob pass to Crawford on the weak side. He's hammered by O's. O's makes sure that there won't be a score. And Crawford goes to the line for 2.
It's Todd Lichty leading the scoring on the court in the opening half. 19 points. Fisher a dozen. Stewart 11.
There's the foul there. And Ray O's professionally making sure that JC doesn't score it. Makes him earn it.
In actual fact, if you're going to foul one of the true legends of the league, James Crawford's not a bad one. It's quite incredible that his career free throw statistic is 69%, and he's at 61% this season. And again, he makes only 1 of 2.
Yeah, but he better serve going to his athletic dunk. It's a high percentage as Rucker goes all the way to the hoop, coast to coast, and the soft touch off the glass. So Derek Rucker showing a bit of energy there.
So a 5-point ball game. Grace off to Lichty, again high scorer. Curl in his back pocket. Crawford and O's. Crawford edges his way towards the basket. Draws the foul, but doesn't make it the 3-point play. It went around the hoop and refused to fall.
Reyes can't afford to get into foul trouble, so it's only his second, so he's in pretty good shape. But Wildcats trying to get the ball into Crawford and make him a focal point there. He goes to the line yet again. You mentioned the shooting percentage. It is strange that an absolute champion like James has an average shooting percentage from the free throw line, but he does so many other things.
Well, he made both of those to get it back to a 3-point margin. Rucker takes on Grace. There's the acceleration. There's the reject from Crawford. An amazing vertical leap that James Crawford possesses. His hand was way above the basket on that occasion.
Here it is in the replay, and just thrown out by James Crawford.
Saw O's block 4 shots in the opening half for the Suns. O's with the ball at the moment, but not for long. Stripped of it by Fisher. Gives it off to Grace. Great steal by Fisher. Stewart pulls up for 3, doesn't get it. Cameron, the bounce pass into O's, makes some room for himself, doesn't get the left-hander to fall. Crawford coming into his own in this second half. That takes him into double figures. He's now got 11 points.
Townsville were very slow to get back on defense there, and Crawford was found uncontested under the basket, made a tough shot.
Hand in there from Perth. Grace comes up with it. little bit sloppy the last couple of trips forward, the Suns. Awkward pass there by Crawford to Fisher. Again, as was the case with Crawford, he'll go to the line, but not for the three-point play.
Well, Townsville seem to have gone away from their good offensive effort in the second quarter. They're just trying to take some shots at a pretty low percentage, and the defensive rebound is starting or igniting the break there for Perth. So Perth looking pretty good on the transition.
3 team fouls for Townsville in 3 minutes of this second half. Fisher in his 300th NBL appearance. Makes both. The Wildcats with their noses back in front by the narrowest of margins. The Ambrosius off to Curl to Rucker. Get it inside. Dish back out though by Panisi. Long range. Curl gets it.
Simon Curl stroking it there from 30 feet. It's a great pass by Grace, who hits Stewart on the money at full pace, and he was hammered from behind and will shoot 2.
It's almost enough to give you a whiplash.
This pass had to be on the money, and we saw Jason Cameron get caught out of position there and really crunch Stewart.
Stewart, chance to add to his half-time tally of 11 points. So scores level now, 69 points apiece. Panisi with the ball. In fact, he is the leading rookie this season, averaging 7 points and 4 rebounds. David Panisi has 9 points already today. Chance to add to it here. On the turn, lovely, he's into double figures.
Good confident jump hook by Panisi. Gave his teammate a good target. Made no mistake. Fisher from three-point range. It's out of his range. Follows up. Got the lucky roll. Scott Fisher not renowned for his three-point shooting, but can score from close range easily.
Well, all of a sudden, Perth, things falling their way. Grace, the interception. Off to Stewart. Hands in there from Cameron, but not only the ball. Stewart gets a hand up there from Scott Fisher. That's the 5th team foul in this half.
Just a holding foul there with a leg from Jason Cameron. And already Townsville with 5 fouls so far in this quarter. Perth yet to foul. So Stewart just walks to the line, and this is bailing out the Wildcats at the moment. Anytime they're fouled, they walk to the line, and it's giving them a great ascendancy.
It's a great start to the second half. 5 third quarter fouls. Stewart makes them pay with the first. The Wildcats out by 2. Just over 4 minutes gone in the third period. Rucker calling the shots. Unusual to see Crawford to come out and mark him. Mitchell Hill gives it back to Rucker. Runs into Crawford. Hands in there against Kruger by Fisher. And again, the Wildcats strong in defense. Lichty loses it. Curl is called for the foul.
Good defense from the Wildcats, forced the turnover. Jerry Rucker ran out of options there in the traffic, and Perth again on the offensive transition. Here's Grace. You see him just see Lichty on the left, Curl in there, gets the hands foul, and Lichty will go to the line.
And Lichty's first gives him 20 for the game. Todd Lichty averaging 18 points at 54% from the field coming into this game.
Hard man to defend too. He can do it inside and he can do it outside.
Mitchell Hill off to Rucker. Look away pass there to Curl. Inside to Panisi. Marking up on him was Fisher. He gives it to Mitchell Hill, who makes it for 3.
Kieran Mitchell Hill's another one from the three-point line that can knock it down. Good outside strength from the shooters of Townsville at the moment.
He gets the margin back to 1. Crawford across to Grace. Curl quick to close. Fisher all alone, almost on the free throw line. From long range, Simon Curl doesn't get it to fall. And Grace comes up with the rebound for the Wildcats. He's got Lichty on his right. Doesn't use him. Perhaps he would have been better served too, have dished it off. Kruger. Rucker, bullet like off to Mitchell Hill. Curl with Lichty in his face, takes him on, almost loses it. Shot clock inside 10 seconds here for the Suns. Down to 5. Rucker goes in and offensive.
Townsville with the clock running down there ran out of options, and it's a blocking foul on the screen and roll play. It's really something that's pretty trivial, and Townsville with a turnover. So it's one of those phantom calls that we're not qualified to make an adjudication on, I would say.
Hang on, you played over 300 games.
But I'm certainly not a referee. They do a great job.
Oh, extricated yourself beautifully. Anthony Stewart with the ball for Perth. To Fisher. Grace, the look-away pass. He almost threw it out of court. Stewart had to accelerate. Grace, low, going for 3. Crawford, strong rebound. Back to Lichty. Grace tries to step around Lindstrom. Dishes it off to Fisher. Couple of pump fakes, and it's a Perth ball.
That's great intimidation there from Ray O's. Got Fisher trying to get him up in the air. Threw about 2 or 3 fakes, and O's ended up getting a piece of it.
Stewart throws it back down court. Ricky Grace, in he goes, almost rolled in. The Suns come up with it. 3-point game in favour of the Wildcats. Past the halfway point of this third quarter. Lovely move on the turn there. Ray O's, nothing but net.
Good angle from Simon Kill. Got it into Ray O's, and Fisher expecting him to go to the hoop. Just shot the fade away.
Lichty double teamed. Off to Fisher. From where he took the previous shot. There may have been a hand on that in transit.
Ray O's is just sweeping the boards at the moment. He's just an absolute rivet there in the paint, and ball deflecting off James Crawford. Townsville have a chance to take the lead.
Well, joining us, you didn't see the start of this game today. A 17-point lead at one time the Wildcats had early in the game. In fact, about halfway through the opening quarter. Led by 11 at quarter, then found themselves down by 2 at halftime. It's now a bit of a shootout. Panisi can't get the hook shot to go. Good work by Stewart. Thumped the ball on the bounce to Lichty. Lichty into Fisher. Great strength by the big man in his 300th game, but he's triple teamed. Initially, Panisi got a hand on the ball and then went back to Mitchell Hill. Curl with it now. Unloads for 3. Hits the rim. And Stewart comes up with the ball, and also a Townsville Sun foul. Their 6th of the quarter.
Mitchell Hill just getting in there with a headlock. And he's picked up the personal foul as Derek Rucker comes back into the game. Here's the loose ball foul. Mitchell Hill just came in with a bit of World Wrestling Federation defence.
Not something you practice a lot, I'd imagine.
Pretty agricultural foul there, but we walk all the way down to the end there where Perth now go to the line on every foul. So Stewart for 2.
Quite amazing. There hasn't been a foul for Perth so far in this third period.
They've done a pretty good job on stopping the penetration.
Fisher comes up with it back to Stewart for 3. This will hurt. Makes it. There's a Simon Curl impersonator on the sidelines right in front of our commentary position, the mascot. We saw him a couple of games ago dress up and impersonate Brian Gorge, and he was pacing up and down the court trying to upset the South East Melbourne coach. I know if you'll upset Simon Curl, the moment Curl is sitting down, he watches Rucker unload for 3. Just short. Rucker has been short on all his long-range attempts today as Stewart goes all the way. Great reject there by Rucker. Well, he was in bed in hospital last week. He had an infection in his ankle. He was on a drip. He missed the game against Newcastle on Friday night. He was brilliant just then. And D'Ambrosis has drawn the foul. It's either Fisher or Vanderputten who's going to incur the wrath of Peter Lucas.
Vanderputten gets the foul, but just the play on Derek Rucker, how good is that? The interception, and Rucker started 10 yards behind. As we see in replay here, Vanderputten just called for, I don't know what, another phantom in the stadium, but pretty ordinary call there. But again, Rucker starting to be a factor in this game. O's on the turnaround, short.
Not a bad call by you, actually, because the Phantom of the Opera production is coming to Perth in a couple of months' time. He might have just arrived early. Let's have a look at Derek Rucker. That was explosive a moment ago.
Got it from behind, timed it beautifully. Not only blocked it, but chased it down, heads up and found a teammate.
Some strong work beneath the basket. And it is going to go, I think it may be against Fisher. In fact, Ricky Grace, the man who draws the foul.
It just seems that Derek Rucker's starting to feel pretty good out there in this third quarter. As, I think Simon Curl's got better legs than that guy.
Now, Rucker on the free throw line. The mascot is actually impersonating at the moment every move that Simon Curl makes on the court, so a bit of byplay for the audience here at the Entertainment Centre. Now the eyes are focused back on Derek Rucker, who has a clean sheet. 5 from 5 becomes 6 from 6 from the line. Fisher the rebound. Stewart with the ball. Just over 3 minutes away from three-quarter time. Scott Fisher again, off to Smith, who's checked back into the game for Lichty. Grace, who to? Perhaps Vanderputten.
Ball eventually went to Greg Smith, who was out of court. Townsville quite happy to sit in that zone. Rucker on the drive. Finds Ray O's. Oh, O's just cocked it back and looked to slam it. He's fouled. There's Derek Rucker, the bounce pass to Ray O's, and took that ball to the hoop really hard.
So Ray O's at the line. Has 14 points this afternoon. 4 from 5 from the line, now 5 from 6. Fisher inbounds to Stewart. He waits for the offense to come down and join him. Off to Fisher. Smith. Ricky Grace takes on Curl, back to Fisher. Cameron in there. Stewart double teamed. That opens it up there for Grace. Goes into Vanderputten again. Oh, strong.
The Ray O's again a factor in the keyway. They got a piece of that. And Townsville look to score here. 2-point advantage to Perth at the moment, 81-79.
So at least 5 block shots affected by Ray O's, 4 of them in the opening half. Fisher called for the foul beneath the basket. There you see it. Rucker into Cameron, and Stewart will be pinged for that one.
And now Townsville go to the line, so now they have the luxury of the bonus situation just for the last 2 minutes of this quarter.
It's been a real seesaw, hasn't it? The first 5 fouls of the quarter were committed by Townsville, and now a 5-foul streak for the Wildcats.
Certainly has evened the game up as Jason Cameron knocks down his first. He has a chance to tie the game, but 81 apiece. And does just that.
The Wildcats haven't had it all their own way in the opening week of the season here at the Entertainment Centre. It was the Townsville Suns 89-87. They're giving plenty of cheek today, despite giving all the appearances of being blown out of the water not long before quarter time. They have regrouped and they've got it back on level terms inside the last 2 minutes of the third period. Vanderputten just helps it in.
Good rebounding position from Vanderputten, just with a tip in.
Rucker had to really put a high arc on that over Vanderputten. Didn't come up with it as a result. Stewart off to Grace. In he goes.
Townsville really need to regroup here and get a good quality shot. Perth with the last 2 baskets. See Greg Smith in total denial of Derek Rucker. Curl looking for avenues, ran out of options and just threw it off Grace's leg. 16 seconds to go on the shot clock.
Simon Curl with the fluorescent red hairstyle will inbound from the baseline. D'Ambrosis steps around Van der Putten. Van der Putten will be called for the foul.
Just too much foot speed there from D'Ambrosis, and Van der Putten at 7 foot. It's pretty hard to shift that big body quickly, and he was called for the blocking foul. Tony D for 2.
Stewart coming in for Lichty. Sorry, the other way around. Stewart sitting down for Lichty. Todd Lichty, the game-high scorer with 21 points. D'Ambrosis puts the big arc on the free throws. Wildcats out by 2. Just over a minute away from 3/4 time. Lichty, Curl in his face. Grace tries to take on Cameron. He's solid in defence. They lose the ball. Rucker got a hand in on that one. O's off then to Curl. Rucker tried to get the pass into D'Ambrosis. The ref saying it did come off a Perth hand. Rucker sitting down. Kieran Mitchenhill coming back into the game.
Just the dish-off pass to D'Ambrosis, just off Lichty's arm, and it's a Townsville ball again.
15 seconds left on their shot clock. Curl with it. Mitchell-Hill, bullet-like into O's, and another foul against the Cats.
And Van der Putten with another foul there, just having some matchup problems with Ray O's. O's on the flash cut there. Just got a push in the back there from Van der Putten, and he goes to the line, so it's just a procession at the moment of free throws.
The 4th foul on Gavin Van der Putten, not a happy man as he sits down. Phil Doherty back in for the Cats. Ray O's on the line to try and add to his 16 points. .35 seconds remaining on the game clock. After that attempt, Lichty comes up with it. So the shot clock and game clock almost in unison. Grace quite content to wind it down just in advance of half court. He actually inquires with Coach Alan Black, what play would you like us to run?
Well, you probably see Greg Smith just flatten out, look to penetrate, dish to the 3-point shooters, which will be Lichty and Grace. There's the drive and the dish. Grace will have to light up from a long way out, short.
They get it back. And that will be 3/4 time. A 1-point game in favour of the Perth Wildcats, who lead 85 points to 84.
Well, a seesawing affair so far. It's pretty hard to predict confidently the winner here.
So an 85 to 84 game. The Wildcats in front. We'll be back shortly at Entertainment Centre. Let's touch in again with Rob Waters, who's with Ray Gordon.
Good on you, Glenn. Well, Ray, all in the balance again. Townsville will not go away.
No, they're hanging in there. They're scrapping defensively and pushing the ball around offensively, and being patient and pushing it inside and taking those high percentage shots.
What about the performance of Rucker? That was a great individual play, which we replayed and highlighted. But he was on the sickbed not so long ago, and it's a pretty impressive performance from the Townsville import.
Yeah, well, he supposedly was in the hospital the previous week and had a drip, and he hasn't scored a lot tonight, but he's just hustling, and that play was exceptional.
The makeup of the Perth side is pretty similar to the Tigers in many respects. A lot of veterans, a lot of experienced hands there. What about the questions of the fact that they might be a bit on the old side and slowing down a bit? Do you subscribe to that theory or not?
They're obviously older, but they're obviously wiser as well. So, but they have a combination of some young guys and some of the old guys, which can help.
Okay, well, they're just in front, Perth. Can they do it?
I've still got my house on it.
He's a brave man, Ray Gordon, putting his house on a game of basketball. That's how much he loves the sport. 3/4 time. Let's now rejoin our commentary team, headed by Glenn Mitchell.
Thanks very much, Rob. Wildcats 85, Townsville 84, and Clinton Gribus has been keeping an ear on Mark Bragg during that three-quarter time.
Yes, Glenn, it was a very relaxed Mark Bragg talking to the Townsville Suns players as they go into this final 12 minutes. What he spoke about was defensively. He says, don't give up the easy points in transition, i.e. don't let the Wildcats go down and get easy layups. If you deny them those scores and also the second chance shot, so the offensive rebounds for the Wildcats, then you're going to win the game. He told his players, if you are feeling even a little bit tired, come out. He wants maximum energy going into this last 12 minutes, so he wants to constantly rotate his players. And the last thing he told them, we're going to win this, Beach Boys. Back to you, Glenn.
Beach Boys, fair enough. Well, they've got a 1-point deficit going into the last quarter. They won here in week 1 of the season. They won 89-87, so the scores are going to be significantly higher today. Who will be in front at the final buzzer remains to be seen. And for the first time in the game, the tip-off has been won by the Townsville Suns. Rucker pulls up, gives it back to Curl, who goes for 3. It doesn't fall. And in the end, Smith comes up with it for the Cats. I'll get you to gaze into your crystal ball. Darryl, who do you like from here?
Well, it's going to be obviously a very close game. I think if, as long as Perth don't get out to a too big a lead, I know that sounds silly, but if they get a run on, the crowd get excited, they get some energy here, I think it's all over for Townsville. Townsville can stay in the game for the last 5 minutes. I think they can win this.
Curl along the baseline, gives it back to Cameron. Rucker is all alone. Gee, Rucker has really struggled today from long range.
He really threw that. He didn't seem to have a lot of leg power there, and he's probably feeling the pinch physically after being sick during the week. So as we see, Townsville sitting in their zone. It's been pretty successful so far. Smith on the drive, and Tony D'Ambrosio read that like a cheap novel. Just took it right in the numbers. And the offensive charge, as we see in replay here, D'Ambrosio set, and they went over like Skittles.
You're enjoying this commentary gig, aren't you?
It's always fun to be involved with the Mitsubishi Challenge. So with these close teams every week, I mean, anyone can beat anyone. Townsville just recently have been on the bottom of the ladder. They're out here playing a fairly hungry Wildcats who have lost their last two in a row. So most games are pretty intense.
Curl calling the shots as he comes over half court. Off to Cameron. Lichty in his face. O's double team Doherty and Crawford. Curl with it. Shot clock ticks inside 10 seconds. Curl drives towards the basket. Strong work, doesn't get it. Deserved better. Doherty comes up with a rebound.
Good move from Simon Curl. Just unlucky there on the roll. Pretty unhappy with that. You see Doherty looking for options. There's Rucker again, gets off to Simon Curl. Oh, and Smith with a cheap foul. By Jeff Weeks right there has caught him for the hand. So it's a 3-point attempt now. 3-point play possibly, I should say, to Simon Curl. But again, Derek Rucker started it, Curl finished it.
So Simon Curl to the line. This to put Townsville 2 up. Doesn't get it. Crawford strong defensively, as he has been throughout his career, James Crawford. In fact, he leads the league in defensive rebounds, the Alabama Slammer. Does it at both ends of the court. Crawford low on the right. Another hand in there by the Suns. Cameron got a bit on it. Perth sloppy in the last couple of moves forward. Cameron. D'Ambrosio tries to give it inside to O's, has to work hard.
Oh, strong move from Ray O's. Took it up very strongly to the ring. Got fouled, but had that composure to make the bucket.
Well, Crawford looked bewildered. Timeout has been called by Coach Alan Black.
Well, Townsville will be very happy with their start now. They're up by 3, plus with a bonus shot, so they're in pretty good shape, and Perth with some work to do.
You're quite right, though, Darryl, that the crowd can be such a big factor here in Perth. They're pretty silent at the moment. Townsville leading 88-85. Let's see if we can keep an ear here on Mark Bragg.
But when the big man, if it's Doherty, comes to the top, You don't have to worry about him. You know, if it's Fisher, you got to be there.
You know what it's got. He's played one at once.
Hey, what they're doing now? Yeah, I'd rather know it. Okay, but don't let Stewart get off. Don't let Stewart get off. Stay in the 2-3. We might go back to there.
What they're doing, they're setting a pick because we're leaving the middle wide open. Right? So the big man step behind the pick and the guard watch the roll. Like Tony got the charge.
Stay in the 2-3. Stay in the 2-3. Gary, get him to bring it home. That's the head.
Derek Rucker with the good hands, gets it off the curl. Smith makes good pace and just called for the soft hands foul.
Quinton, what did Alan Black have to say during that timeout?
Well, Alan Black is concerned that the Wildcats are standing around watching at this stage, to use his words. He wants his team to get the ball and really kick it on in offense. He wants the game a lot faster. When they're in attack, just get the ball moving. The players who haven't got the ball start running around, start screening.
Well, they're forced to stand around and watch there as Ray O's makes it from the line. So it's now 89-85. Townsville out by 4. One stage they trailed by 17. 21-point turnaround in the game. Grace off to Doherty, who's back on court. Back to the basket. Difficult shot. Doesn't fall. Crawford almost had it. Going to ground Cameron.
Perth going hard to the offensive glass there, but to Crawford getting the foul there on the loose ball. We heard Mark Bragg talking about, here it is here, just a shove in the back there, pretty obvious. I think defensively we heard Mark Bragg talk about getting out on Stewart, not letting him get off from the perimeter against their zone. And if Brad Doherty flashes to the top of the D, let him take that shot. He's questioning whether he has that range.
Inside the last 10 minutes of the game. 4-point margin in favour of Townsville as the steal is affected there by Lichty. Off to Grace. There is Stewart, all on his own. It's normally his range. That time he can't make them pay. Costly miss on that occasion, forward by Perth. Rucker back to Curl. He unloads for 3. Like Stewart, he can't get it to drop. Rucker will try it as well. Again, he has not made one from that range today, Rucker, and he's probably tried at least half a dozen. Back with Rucker. It's an important play here for Townsville. They can go out to a 6-point lead. 7 if they can get it from 3-point range, but O's takes it for 2.
Good patience from Townsville. Good entry pass, Ray O's with the turnaround jumper.
So a half a dozen point lead at the moment for the Townsville Suns. They had a win over Newcastle on Friday night. A game that Derek Rucker didn't play in. Fisher left alone low on the left.
Penetration from Grace. And Fisher in for Doherty. I think I called him Brad Doherty before. Phil Doherty, of course.
Rucker to double dribble. Ray O's now the game high scorer with 22 points. Lichty has 21 for Perth. Fisher 20. Fisher with the ball at the moment in his 300th game in the NBL. Grace, cross court to Stewart, goes along the baseline. Interception. Picked off there. The pass was intended for Crawford. Rucker stole it. Quick hands by Stewart. Well, some feats in the night at the moment at both ends of the court.
Derek Rucker pretty unhappy. He didn't hear any talk from a teammate there, but there was no one around him, and Perth stole the ball back.
Curl right in Lichty's face. Crawford. Quiet game for JC, just 11 points. Lichty. Off to Grace. Crawford back to Grace. Steps around Cameron. Goes in off to Fisher. That was a great drive by Grace. Who will come up with it? It will be a Perth ball.
Tough shot there from Fisher, and just shot with about 1 second to go on the shot clock, so a desperation left-hander. And then good hustle from the Wildcats as they get the ball back again.
Still down by 4, the Cats. Stewart, the look-away pass to Crawford. Strong. Rucker again calling the play. Curl. D'Ambrosis. Off to Cameron. Stewart in close attention. Curl back to Rucker. Almost went over the halfway line. Again, he can't find it from long range, Derek Rucker. Owes the rebound. And another shot clock for the Suns.
Derek Rucker trying to get into the game from the outside. He's struggling. Townsville need a good quality shot here. Curl gets it to Cameron. Three-point attempt. Nothing but net. Jason Cameron, a big three-pointer.
Jason Cameron now 7 points for the game. Season average of 6 coming in. Lichty. Oh, looking for the pass, or even the alley-oop perhaps there to Crawford.
Perhaps 10 years ago.
A timeout called here by Alan Black. So a 4-point game just over halfway through this final period. It's Townsville 93, leading the Wildcats 89. And let's have a listen now to what Alan Black is saying to his charges.
Running his own stuff. When we get the ball in our zone stuff, Rick's kicking it, he's going away. High post man, when you come up, Scott, you play high, you're not being guarded. All right, so get into penetration and make them guard you. Then maybe we can go kick. Make them guard you out there on that. All right, we've called through the last 2 times. You're in zone. So this pass, but the pass is not going to be on, so we just got to get the ball back out, ball reversal and play. All right? Come on, boys.
So quickly, drivers, we just saw Alan Black really attack the whiteboard. What did Mark Bragg have to say?
Yes, well, I can hardly hear you, Glenn. The crowd's making plenty of noise. Mark Bragg told his players, play your backsides off over this last 6 minutes. He says that the Wildcats are already in the bonus situation in terms of the fouls. 4 fouls on Perth. Everyone from here on in, Townsville are off to the free throw line. He also says he has all 3 timeouts available. He's going to use them if his players need a rest.
Thanks, Clinton. Rucker dishes it off to Mitchell Hill. Cameron. The crowd really starting to come into the game now. They sense that Perth are in a deal of trouble. It's a game they really can't afford to lose this weekend.
Shot clock winding down, and Derek Rucker with 3 seconds to go. Desperation 3 makes it a big play. Gets his team out to a 7-point lead.
First time from long range that Rucker has looked like making a basket. Grace goes in, hand on that from Kruger. It'll be a Perth ball.
Perth really need to change something here. Time's running out. Almost just over 5 minutes to go in the game, and they really need a good basket here as the deflection shows that it's a Perth ball again.
Lichty jammed in the corner by Mitchell Hill and Kruger. Fisher right across court. Grace unleashes for 3. The rebound important. Mitchell Hill gets it for the Suns. So we've entered the last 5 minutes. A 7-point split in favour of the Townsville Suns. Rucker mid-air gave it off to Cameron. O's got Crawford in the air.
Ray O's turnaround jump shot.
Ray O's averaging 19 points a game. He has 24 this afternoon. Stewart. Crawford almost lost it. Lichty pulls up. O's again, strong. Well, Perth cannot afford, Darryl, to go into attack and not register some points.
Exactly. Time is running out for them. They need to score every trip down into offense, and they're struggling at the moment. Townsville are quite happy to use 30 seconds on nearly every offense. The clock's on their side. They're looking to open up Rucker and then make O's a focal point in the post.
Well, Rucker didn't find it again that time, but O's affects the rebound. Another 30-second shot clock inside the last 4 minutes. 98 playing 89. Kruger all alone. Not his range, though. Rucker gets along the baseline. Cameron will have a go for 3. That'll hurt if he makes it. Mitchell Hill almost the rebound. O's slaps it out into the path of Rucker. And a timeout.
Well, offensive rebounds really affecting Perth at the moment. Just Townsville are getting too many shots at the basket.
Well, what a massive turnaround in this game. They trailed by 17 points about midway through the opening quarter, Townsville. They now lead by 9, 98-89. Just over 3.5 minutes remaining in the ball game. Let's have a listen to Mark Bragg.
Just use the clock. Make sure we get... The thing is, on the out-of-bounds play, the thing is not to score. The thing is to get the ball in bounds. Remember at the start of the game, I talked about coming hard with the basketball, working hard off screens, being strong with the ball. You will probably get fouled and it may not be called. That's okay. Just be very strong with the basketball and keep moving. You guys, you two, you particularly, you've got to keep you two through. Keep moving. Keep the crowd out. Stay here until they call you out. You guys keep crossing and then get the ball.
So Mark Bragg speaking to his charges, just repeating that scoreline. Townsville 98, the Wildcats 89. And one would imagine, Clinton Grimes, that Alan Black has some worries at the moment.
He certainly does, Glenn. He told his team that they've just given up 7 offensive rebounds for the Townsville Suns. Simply not good enough. They're trying to do it individually. He says we can get it done as a team. We can't get it done individually. The defence the Wildcats are going to use, they're going to a full court man should the Suns, should the Wildcats score and the Suns have possession. Full court man, back to a man-to-man.
Ball brought back into court. Fisher. Is it called for the foul?
Yeah, Fisher gets the foul, and of course the Suns now go to the line with that being the 5th foul this quarter for Perth Wildcats. You'll find too on penetration, everywhere Derek Rucker goes, he seems to be double teamed, try and look for the steal or to get it out of his hands. Important for the Townsville Suns to make themselves available as a target for Rucker to get the ball to them.
Grant Kruger at the line. He'll be facing the NBL tribunal during the week. He was ejected from the Friday night game against Newcastle, an altercation on court with Isaac Burton. And he makes both. All of a sudden the lead now in double figures. They've hit the century, Townsville. They lead by 11. Stewart, Mitchell Hill, good defence, dishes it back to Lichty for 3, makes it. That will get the crowd vocal.
Tough 3 from Lichty in the clutch.
There's the full court press. We just heard Clinton say had been instructed by Alan Black. Stewart doesn't like it. I must admit, from our vantage point, it did look like he had a lot of ball, but the umpire saying that it was on the arm.
Let's have a look at it here. Stewart, good ball pressure, gets a piece of it, a little unlucky. But Derek Rucker under plenty of pressure there, and Wildcats not far away from getting a steal. It's desperately what they need. But at the other end, Rucker goes for the 2 bonus shots.
Rucker makes the first. This to give him 20 points for the afternoon, and he makes good that one as well. Just over 3 minutes remaining, a 10-point margin in favour of the visitors.
It's always easy to get is Stewart lights up for a running 3.
Again, the full court press. Kruger with the ball, being harassed and harangued. Hand on that by Fisher, but coming up with the ball in the offensive half of the court, Cameron. He gets it off to Rucker, who's quite content to slow things down.
Townsville quite happy to just work for the good shot here. Mitchell Hill held out there by Lichty. Rucker working on Crawford. There's the mismatch. Rucker long 3. And the deflection off Perth.
Yes, it came off Lichty. Subs. Mitchell Hill sitting down for the Townsville Suns. Curl checking back into the game. 2.5 minutes from full time. 7-point margin in favour of the Townsville Suns. They won here in week 1, 89-87. The foul called on Todd Lichty.
And again, the bonus situation comes into play with Lichty getting the legging foul. Townsville will get to foul in this quarter.
Quite amazing, considering the tempo that this period's been played at.
Well, what probably bails them out a little bit defensively is they're sitting in that zone, so that can help them not foul. As Pell knocks down his first, he's come back in to play the last 2.5 minutes for Kieran Mitchell Hill, who did very well.
And Perth cannot afford to go down court now and not come up with significant plays. Lichty, Curl with him. Lichty off to Stewart, thought about 3. Crawford, the little jumper, and makes it. 7-point game. Just about to enter the last 2 minutes.
Stewart just turning up the heat on Simon Curl. And Derek Rucker pulls it out.
Curl takes on Grace. Dishes back to Cameron. Rucker pulls the trigger for 3. Again, he doesn't make it. It's about 1 of 9 probably from that range. that he has made today. Most of them have been short, in particular in the first half. Crawford.
That's definitely not the shot that Alan Black would want from a Perth situation there. James Crawford just caught in no man's land. No real targets to throw to, and the Alabama Slammer has taken very few attempts in his whole career, and probably that was not the good time to add to another attempt.
Lichty is called for the foul. See it there, and it takes Derek Rucker for a walk down court. After a slow start, Derek Rucker 22 points now for the game. Took a while to get on the scoreboard. Margin out to 9. Just under a minute and a half remaining till full time.
And Todd Lichty going hard to the rack, forcing Ray O's to defend him. Went right at O's body. He fouled and he goes to the line, and Mark Bragg calls the timeout.
Yes, so it's now one timeout remaining per coach. The Wildcats are down by 9 points, so a 26-point turnaround after Townsville looked down and out. Down by 17 points, not far away from quarter time. They're now up 106 to 97. Let's have a listen to, no doubt, a worried Alan Black.
Foul the right guy. Kruger's on. Let's foul him. But guys, in the last 2 minutes, we've been playing good 20-second defense, and then we've been getting caught with fouls with 10 seconds to go, so they're getting easy baskets, and they're also running the shot clock down at the same time. Right, we're in our press on the all the time. Try for the steal first. Right, we're trying for the steal first. Clock is over halfway, then we foul. Let's come up with a steal. Right, keep playing, boys. Keep playing.
The aim there from the Wildcats: steal first, foul second. That's the plot. Clinton, what did Mark Bragg have to say?
3 things from Mark Bragg there. Take control of the basketball, no turnovers. Don't give the Wildcats any second shots, so get on the defensive rebounds. And he worked out a play for Howtham to get the ball into play. Should the Wildcats score, it'll involve Curl and Rucker at either elbow. They'll break to the inbound pass. He just wants them to take control of it.
Lichty on the line for Perth. Makes the first. It gives him 25 points this afternoon. And makes the second. Now the full court press again here. Pass. Rucker. He's got O's breaking. Opts just to hold things up. Fisher with him. Somewhat of a mismatch. Curl. Kruger off to Cameron. Cross court to Rucker. Well, Perth really need to get a hand in there very shortly. Rucker goes all the way to the basket. Off to Kruger. And Fisher is called an intentional.
Good patience there from Townsville. Perth are looking to foul Kruger, who you would assume might be their lowest percentage free throw shooter. And the crowd just reacting to that sort of foul. Fisher obviously trying to make sure that Kruger didn't score, but he's called for the intentional.
And Scott Fisher, 6 fouls, so he is out of the game.
Alan Black pretty unhappy with the call, and I think it's pretty warranted too.
Well, Kruger now from the line, then the Suns will get it from half court. First one was a brick. The second sweeter. So Cameron it is to bring it back into court. 63 seconds remaining in the ball game. 8-point split, well done by Lichty. Pulls up for 3, crucial if he gets it. He doesn't. It was short, and Kruger the rebound, and the foul called.
Well, from Perth's point of view, that's probably the right foul. Kruger isn't known as the greatest foul shooter, but he is 3 or 4, I think, tonight. So he walks to the other end with plenty of pressure. Here's the rebound, and then Stewart just gets in, and the arms foul. So the Suns with an 8-point lead.
53 seconds away from full time. Kruger makes good the first. So an opportunity to put the lead into double figures if he can make his second. He doesn't. Smith comes up with it. Perth in a hurry, as you can expect, into offense. Stewart goes cross court low on the left. There is Grace into Crawford. Doesn't fall. Rucker comes up with it. Outlet pass to Cameron. That could be the ball game. The margin 11 points. Townsville Suns bench on their feet. This will be a very meritorious win for them. Game clock inside 30 seconds. Crawford back to Grace. Stewart pulls the trigger from long range. It doesn't fall. Unable to affect the rebound. Cameron Crawford gets it and slam dunks it.
Important for Townsville just not to foul defensively there. If they're going to foul, they're going to foul early like that and stop the clock. 16 seconds to go. But unfortunately, they've fouled the best free throw shooter on the Townsville Suns team. There's James Crawford's dunk. Simon Curl just inciting a riot here with the crowd.
Yes, Simon Curl back in the backcourt is getting the crowd offside at the moment as Rucker makes the first. There he is, applauding the crowd. He's paying no attention. He's got his back to his teammate who's shooting down the other end of the court. Rucker misses the second. 15 seconds away from full-time. Rucker the steal. Will he pull up for three? He's only made one, now he's made two. Well, what a turnaround. A 30-point turnaround in this game. Stewart short. And Townsville have made it 2 wins from 2 trips to Perth in season 1998. They won in week 1 here, 89-87. They have run out winners today, 114-101. That's amazing, Darryl. They trailed at one stage by 17 points. They have won by 13, a 30-point turnaround since about 8 minutes into the game.
It is a huge turnaround, and especially we spoke before about how tough the Mitsubishi Challenge is and the level of competition. Most of the games are so close. A huge turnaround, and they'd be very buoyed by that on their climb up the ladder.
So a great win. 27 points to Derek Rucker. For Perth, 22 to Stewart, 26 to Lichty, 17 to Crawford. And speaking of Derek Rucker, he's speaking with Quinton Grivis.
Well, Derek, 27 points. Congratulations on one league. First of all, how are you feeling now?
I was struggling during the game. I really thought I'd feel better. I thought I could play on Friday night after getting out of the hospital, but I think I took the doctor's orders and stayed off the court. But yeah, I'm pretty tired and pretty drained right now. I'm just happy that I was able to help the team get the win.
This has become a really big weekend now for the Townsville Suns, beating Newcastle on Friday, now winning here in Perth. You're back on track.
Yeah, well, I thought that we've been working hard for the past 2 or 3 weeks. We didn't get a few things to go our way. We lost a couple of games, but the main thing was we kept working hard in practice. And the guys believe in what we do, and it was only a matter of time before we started to see results on the court. And it was a great win today. I mean, Perth, an outstanding team, and to come out here after winning on Friday was great.
And just finally, Simon Curl, why does he do it?
He's great. I love playing with Simon. It's like he does so many things I want to do, but I'm not able to do. I don't have the courage to do. So, you know, he's great for the league. People enjoy him. People hate him. Either way, you know, he's an entertainer.
All right, great win. Well done, Derek.
Thank you.
Glenn, Derek Rucker there, a very happy Derek Rucker. I know it's your birthday. You should go and celebrate with Townsville. They're going to party tonight.
Thank you very much, Quinton Grivis. Well, a great win there for the Townsville Suns. An incredible turnaround. As we said, they were down by 17 points going towards quarter time, and in the end, they have run out comfortable victors. And Darryl Pearce, that is a great victory.
It is, and I think, you know, once their team is fully healthy and 100%, you know, they can only get better, and at their best, they can beat anyone in the league.
So a great win there today to the Townsville Suns at the Perth Entertainment Centre, 114 points to 101, as we say goodbye from Perth and take you back to Rob Waters.
Thanks, Glenn. Thanks, guys. And Ray, well, the house is on the market, unfortunately.
House is gone. House is gone.
Great performance, wasn't it, from Townsville?
Did exceptionally well. All-round effort from all the guys at Townsville.
And what was the turnaround? As they mentioned, 17 points down to win by 13. Something clicked.
Yeah, 30-point turnaround. That was incredible. They you know, hustled and scrapped on defence, and offensively did a great job.
Worrying signs for Perth or not?
Yeah, they've got some problems to solve, but look, they're well coached and they've got some great players, and they'll turn it around.
Okay. Will the Tigers turn it around?
For sure.
And how are the guys? Leonard coming back from a pretty serious injury, and similarly Mark Bradkey's got his injury worries. How are they feeling?
Yeah, Leonard's over the knee injury, and Mark's still working on his Tai Chi, so he'll get there.
Now, what's that about? The Tai Chi?
Yeah, he's doing some mysterious Chinese herbal thing, and he's now eating his food with chopsticks, so he'll get there. He'll get there.
Don't know if it's working. Do you think you should revert back to more traditional methods?
I have no comment.
Okay. Thanks very much, Ray. Ray Gordon there with us, the Melbourne Tigers. Now, week 8 in the Mitsubishi Well, sorry, before we plug next week's game for you, Ray's a bit of an internet fan, as we all are, and we have a website here, and you can see the players of the week, the team bios, all the fixtures, and you can also write into our guest book, and that's the website address, www.abc.net.au/basketball. So for all your website information, that's where to go. Now, week 8 in the Mitsubishi Challenge kicks off next week, and on the Friday night, Illawarra take on the ladder leaders South East Melbourne Magic at the Snake Pit. And next week's game for you live on Sunday should be a beauty. It will be the big clash between South East Melbourne Magic and the North Melbourne Giants, live from Melbourne at 4 p.m. Ray, thanks for your time today.
Great, thanks for having me.
Good luck for the next bits of the season.
Thanks very much.
Ray Gordon of the Melbourne Tigers. That's it today. Big win for Townsville. Good afternoon.
Yeah.